What's up, guys? Pat here. Thank you so much for hanging around. And for the next hour, or maybe a little bit over an hour, because we do want to stick around and answer your questions, we're going to talk all about growing your email list. My name is Pat Flynn, if you don't know who I am. But first of all, thank you so much for being here. And to officially mark the first ever webinar that was done in the SPI studios, we're going to make it great by doing a little marker here. So if you guys are ready, stick with me. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. That didn't really do anything, but we're still on. Hey guys, let us know where you are from. I will be introducing my guest here in just a minute. But if you're watching this, first of all, let us know that you can hear us and see me. And also just tell us where you're from and where you're actually seeing this from. So we got Dayton, Ohio, Australia, San Diego, a lot of San Diego people, which is great. Tucson, wow. Okay, the comments are blowing up, which is great because we have a couple people who are also here to help us virtually from ConvertKit. We have Ben and Vanessa who are going to be helping answer questions as we go along. But without further ado, I'm going to welcome our live guest here. This is Isa. She's the webinar person and just amazing knowledge base for all things email, who's here with us today. So Isa, thank you so much. Come on. Yay!
Yay!
So this
Hi,
is
everyone.
This is different.
This is different. I'm usually doing this from my home. Sometimes you can hear my dog Stanley. This is really cool. I feel very honored. I didn't know this was the first webinar from Pat Studios.
It is. I didn't even know this could be possible using like the fancy cameras and stuff. But as you can see, we're in the set. You might have seen this set on Facebook or on YouTube. There will be more of this because it's a lot of fun. But to start, we're going to hit the timer here. So we know exactly how far we're going to go and how often. What is that dog's name?
Stanley. Someone said it was a good name. Good name for a dog. It's a good name for a dad. I mean, I guess that's.
If your dad's name is Stanley, that's cool too. But hey, guys, we got a lot of great stuff to talk about. I will be here. We're going to be doing this kind of together. But Isa is here from ConvertKit, a company that I absolutely love. I've used it for years. It's helped me grow my email list to about 200,000. And I'm an advisor for the company too. And an affiliate, of course. So without further ado, let's just have you take the lead, but I will be here. I'm not moving away from camera. And this will be interesting. It'll be, like I said, the first time, but I think there's going to be a lot of cool interactions, and hopefully you stay and hang around with us too. So thanks again, guys, for being here.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. Definitely stay active in the chat. Vanessa and Ben are so excited about this, and we'll be answering your questions in the Q&A box. So if you have a question, put it in that Q&A box. You'll see it at the bottom. That way Pat can see it, Vanessa will see it, Ben will see it. We don't want to lose any of your questions in the wonderful chat. So definitely put your questions there. We'll be answering some of them live during the workshop as well as after. So we definitely want to hear from you. This will be about an hour and a half, and there will be some free stuff at the end, and maybe some other surprises. So definitely stay till the end if you can.
I thought this was going to make noise, but it just makes a weird unraveling noise.
Yeah, we're sorry about that. We were really hoping it made noise. This is so much more fun than doing this alone at my house. So I'm so glad you all are a part of this. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can start talking about how to grow your email list and grow a group of people who are really excited about the work you're doing. And I'm excited to hear more about the work that you all are doing. So we're going to talk about Pat and I's top 10 list building techniques. And these are things that I have seen actually work. Many of these things Pat has actually done, and he's going to be telling us about those things, which I'm very excited to hear some of those stories. My name is Isa, and as Pat mentioned, I'm the webinar producer at ConvertKit. But who I really want to introduce you to is Ugly Sweater Isa. This is me 8 years ago.
Oh, man.
Pat really thinks it's ugly.
I have an ugly sweater, but it's not quite that ugly. I'm sorry.
I made this too, so that's quite a... Is it a compliment if you made it to be ugly or not? I don't know. But this was an office Christmas party when I had a day job and a dream to have a book published, to have my own business. And I had no idea how to do any of those things. I started, though, exactly as you are today, going on every free training that I could. There's a lot of power in showing up. So I just want to applaud you all for doing that right now because it makes a huge difference. I would get on the phone in these teleseminars and learn about how to grow an email list, how to grow a platform. I was good at writing. I knew my topic. You all are probably awesome at something. I'd love to hear more about what that is in the chat too, if you want to tell us. What is your work? What is the thing that gets you excited about doing all of this? You're good at that. You don't need us to teach you about that, but there's this whole other world of learning. How do you get people to know about what you do so that you can impact them with the great things that you have to share? And so I started just where you are today. using that knowledge that I learned on all these free trainings I went on, a year later, my book was published. I quit my job. I had a full-time business traveling around the country and an email list that helped me sell my book. It still does today, and helped me get clients for the business that I had. And it wasn't a giant email list, but it was one that helped me have a whole business. So you don't need the biggest list in the world. And we're going to be talking about that.
Right. You had true fans based on what you started, which is great. And we'll talk more about that a little bit.
Yes. And I would love to know where you all are at. Are you in the ugly sweater phase? Are you a little farther? And let us know how many email subscribers you have. And no shame. 0 is a great number. That's where we all start. 1 is a great number, even if it's your mom. That's how Julie and Julia started, and she had a movie made about her. We like to think of email subscribers as people who are around your kitchen table, people in your home who want to hear about them, right, Pat? I know you talk a lot about that, right? People on your email list.
Each of these numbers, I mean, some of you are saying 10, 20, 100. Those are real human beings. Now, some of you, like Bridget, I saw, has 200,000 people on a list, which is great because maybe we're going to go to some foundational things that maybe you didn't even do yet to help you grow your list even more. But either way, we're going to help you scale what you have. We have 10,000, we have 82, 176, 5, 0. A lot of people at 0, which is great because we'll help you out too for sure.
Yes, and for those of you who have much more than 0, you can help everyone in the chat too. As we go through some of these techniques, if you've tried them and they've worked for you, tell us all about it. I love hearing what's actually working, and that's what this is all about. And I'd also love to know, what is building an email list really about for you? When I started, it wasn't that I just really want a big email list. It was, I really want to share this book with the world and share this information that I've learned. And that's what it was about for me, real people. Pat, what about you? What was growing a list for you?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, one of the biggest mistakes I ever made in my business was not growing my email list. I started my email list 2 years after my business started. I actually made this mistake twice, one with Green Exam Academy and also with Smart Passive Income. I didn't start growing my list until later, and I wish I had those years back. But the reason why I grew those lists was not because I wanted more money, which, yes, that can be possible when you grow a list. It wasn't just because I wanted this vanity number of X number of subscribers, which I know a lot of us share, how big our list is and such. The reason why I wanted a list was because it was certain lists that I was on that was having an impact on my life. And I knew that if I was able to build a list with real people, targeted people, I could share my message, help them, and as a result, build a stronger relationship with them, which, as you know, if you've been following me for years, I don't do any super hard selling on emails. I give a lot of value. Hopefully you feel that way. And I've been able to develop super fans as a result.
Yes, you certainly have. And we're so glad so many of you are on live with us. And I love that answer too. I mean, I'm sure I know I have had that one email in your inbox that totally transformed your life in some way or gave you this new idea. And that could be you in someone else's life. And that's what it's really about for us too.
Will here says, I wonder if this is actually live. Does that prove it? All right.
Exactly, Will. We're really here. This is real.
She's just a hologram, actually.
That's a good one. We did a survey last year of people who were making a living online, bloggers, and we heard this quote over and over again. People were telling us that the vast majority of their income was also tied to their email list, as Pat mentioned. And I'm curious, Pat, has that been true for you? Once you got started, how did it affect your business? Even though I know the original intention, of course, is to help people.
Right. Well, obviously, you might have heard the things that people say, which is the money is in the list, right? I think that's true, but only to a point. And I don't really like that phrase because it just means, let's grow those numbers. I think what is also entailed with that is growing the right kinds of people. I would much rather have an email list of 1,000 people who are just so devoted to opening every email and clicking on every link versus 1 million people who don't even open those emails, right? So it's not just about how big your list is, but it's tied to the quality of the people on that list too. And again, for the same reasons, like I mentioned earlier, it's not just because you have that list, it's because now you're able to actually connect with them and have conversations with them and survey them and those kinds of things.
Yes, and that's the attitude that I find tends to help people actually grow a business. It's the people who aren't thinking of people as numbers, but thinking of them as real people. And in that survey, we found that people who were using email marketing earned a little bit more than those who weren't. So it is something we do know can help you grow a business, which can be helpful when you're thinking about, what do I spend my time on? Because I know you all are busy. You have a lot going on and there's so many things to choose from when it comes to promotion. And so this is something we know can help you do that, but you don't have to have the biggest list. It's about having a quality list. And we're going to talk about how you can build a quality list and not just any old list that maybe doesn't do much. As I mentioned, I work at ConvertKit. As Pat mentioned, we're an email service provider that Pat uses, and we exist to help creators earn a living. This is a plaque Nathan, our CEO, actually made for us all and gave to us in our last retreat in McCall. And that's what this training is all about. I'll show you a little in ConvertKit at the end. We'll talk a little bit about it, but this is really about helping you earn a living, helping you make an impact and get your amazing work out there. And that's the core of these strategies, and you can use them really no matter what tool that you're using.
You know, the other important thing about having an email list for me is security, because there are certain social media platforms out there that can just change things on you tomorrow, like we've seen last week with Facebook. And a lot of people who I know who have had pages with tens of thousands of people, and that's what their business was relying on, they're done.
Yeah.
And they didn't work on building their email list. With your email list, you can always carry it with you wherever social media wants to take you, or wherever. I mean, even one time in 2013, my website was hacked. And it was unavailable for a week and a half, but I still had my email list to tell people where to go, or that this podcast episode came out. And I was just like, you know what? It's okay, because if my website gets shut down completely, well, I can always set up shop somewhere else because I have my email list. So super important. For those of you who are building your email list already, great job.
Yes. So we're going to go through steps to help you build that list so you can have that same security. One of our customers, I was watching her Insta story the other day, and she was like, everyone's freaking out about this Facebook algorithm. I'm not worried. I have my email list. So we want to help you grow that. And it's also this great place to get feedback from your people and really connect with people in a way that helps you grow your thing. So we're going to go through the things we know work. We're going to help you figure out where to find the right people for your email list, the people who actually will love what you're doing and maybe want to buy your stuff if you're selling some stuff, and you can let us know about what that is in the chat as well. And then the best opt-in forms, which is that form that I'm sure many of you have seen. You've probably done some for Pat because you're here today, which is also kind of the amazing thing to me about email and opt-in forms and these things that we're going to be talking about. They are people behind email lists. So you're here actually live, like Will, in this moment. And for some of you, probably because of an opt-in. In some ways, right?
For sure.
So we're going to help you figure out what would be the best one for you, and then where do you promote it so you find your Will and and bring them to your content. See, Will?
And a lot of people were asking about what that Facebook change was, and a lot of you are actually answering that question in the chat. So be involved in the chat if you can. It's a great, I mean, you guys are fantastic, and you're always helping each other. If you don't know where the chat is, just hover over the video and click on chat below. You'll find it.
Kathy said, I need a Will. So we're going to help you all find your
Wait,
wills.
that's like estate planning. That's a different kind of will.
I'm thinking of Will the person.
Oh, the person. Okay. I was like living trusts and
yeah.
Okay, anyway.
So are you ready? We're gonna do this. 10 tips.
No more puns, or I can't promise that.
Try.
I'm a dad, but Will's like the puns. Oh my gosh. Okay, get going, Lisa.
Number 1, focusing on your true fans, aka Wills only, and ignoring everybody else. And you might be wondering, well, how is this a list building technique? We're going to get to those hardcore ones, but these first 2 that we share with you are really the most important, because if you miss these 2 and do all the other things, nothing will happen. And you'll be wondering, why am I doing all this stuff and I'm still hearing crickets? And if that's ever been you, sometimes it's just you've missed these first 2 pieces, and that is okay. You're going to know what they are now. So the first thing is thinking about focus. Who are you for and who are you not for? And don't try to be everything to everybody. What is a true fan? What do we mean by that? It's someone who will buy anything you create. So you'll have general fans who maybe they won't buy everything, but we're talking about, as you think about the content you create, you want to create stuff for your true fans, people who are really going to love everything that you do. It's someone who believes in the work that you are doing, someone who feels deeply understood by you, and someone who cares about you as a person. And that might sound kind of fluffy, but this is actually what I have found with people making a full-time living, having a really active community, it's actually very personal. Has that been true
Yeah,
for you?
oh, absolutely. I mean, we become friends with the people who we follow, especially on platforms like podcasts and live video and YouTube and such. For me, the true fan thing is really, really important because, I mean, it's actually what my next book is about.
Ooh,
I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
It is about building true fans, because if you focus on the small but very powerful group of true fans, they will become the ambassadors for your company. They will market for you without even asking. They will be the people who, if you serve them, then the people under them, are also going to be served and can potentially get up to that level too. It also helps when you have like trolls. They will come out of the woodwork to just like fight them off for you. It's so cool.
Yes.
So that's why I love fans. And the cool thing is you don't need a lot.
No, you
to
don't
make
need
a
to
big
be
impact.
a celebrity to have true fans who are going to fight your trolls for you. And this was partly inspired by this article by Kevin Kelly. Soon I'll probably replace this slide with Pat's book. Yeah, that's going to happen. Kevin talked about how you don't need to be that celebrity with millions of followers. You only need 1,000 true fans to even be an artist who's making a living in some way, or a creator or a blogger. This is the math that he came up with, and you can totally plug and play here depending on the type of product you might sell and the amount. But this is just an example of how to think about your true fans. This is the person who goes to the concert. They buy tickets every time that band is in town, right? And those people, I promise you, exist for you, and we want to help you find them.
The link goes to an article. It was actually an essay that was written, I think, in 2006, mostly for musicians and artists, starving artists. But entrepreneurs are kind of like that too.
Totally. They have so much in common. So speaking of that, I would love to know in the chat, what is one thing your true fans have in common? So if you started to build an email list, you might know this. If you have no idea, that's okay. Think about you. I guarantee you, your true fans probably have something in common with you. Pat, what about you? What has that been? What are some of the things that your true fans have in common?
I think my fans, the Flynatics, as they sometimes call them.
No way. That's awesome.
The Flynatics. I love you guys, by the way. But, they have a lot of things in common. I think the reason why they resonate with me is because I'm fully transparent and authentic. I share everything, even the failures, the things I'm not good at. And I don't try to speak above anybody. I think they appreciate that. We can all do this collectively together. That's why on my homepage and such, you see things like, hey, let's figure this out. Let's build your email list. I always try to use that kind of language because, hey, we're in this together. And the other thing is I think they resonate with me because I'm not the Ferrari flashing mansion wielding guy. I'm like just the dad at home who's trying to make ends meet and also help a lot of people too. So I think that's why. And plus, like, this desire to do something more than just, support their family, but they have a calling beyond that. And, first supporting the family, that unlocks the ability to do all this other stuff that we want to do. So that's what I feel like my fans have in common too.
I love that. And it sounds like a lot of you know what your true fans have in common. If you saw me laughing, it's because I'm seeing some of your amazing comments in the chat of the things that you're doing. And for those of you who don't know yet, don't worry, we're going to help you out. And as you're thinking about what you want to do, why you want to build an email list, that's a good place to start. Who are those people on the other end of that reason? That will give you a really good place to start. And as you think about that, that's going to lead us into number 2. I want you to individually reach out to 10 people who have that thing in common. And if you don't know what that thing is yet, that's okay. It can just be, we can reach out to 10 people. And this is what's going to help you find the perfect opt-in to attract your true fans. This is a big one. So we're going to spend a little time here and then we're going to go through the other ones. But this one is so important because if you do all the other stuff and don't have an opt-in, giving people something of value they really want, right? They're not going to subscribe.
So an opt-in, for those of you who had the big zero in the beginning, don't worry, we're going to help you grow that. An opt-in is essentially a lead magnet, something that you can offer in exchange for that email address, correct?
Exactly. So It's giving people something of value. So it's a little bit different than just subscribe to my blog. You're actually going to give them something.
Or like, hey, subscribe to my newsletter. Like, who wants more emails? You're basically saying, hey guys, sign up here so I can send you more stuff because I know you're already getting a lot of stuff. No, I mean, they will get more emails from you, valuable ones, hopefully, but something immediate as kind of a reward in exchange for that email address. That more than anything has helped me grow my email list on a just higher level.
Yes, and we want to show you exactly how you would do that. And this is the best way to start. I want you to think about 10 people that you know in real life who either have something in common with a potential true fan, or maybe they just know people. And if not, it can just be 10 people you know. The most important thing about these 10 people is that it's people you know, because we want to guarantee you get a response. And your friends and family can actually have really good insight into this question that I'm going to have you ask them. So be thinking about that. This is something you could do today, this week. I've also had some people on the live workshop actually do it on some level live. And what it is sending those 10 people this question, asking them, what is your biggest frustration with your topic right now? So you would put your topic and just get their gut reaction. You will be amazed at how much people love to talk about their frustrations and how much this will give you ideas for what problems you can solve based on what you know in your topic. And that is going to give you clues on what kind of opt-in you could develop. So I recommend doing this one-on-one, in person, through text, a direct message on social media with 10 people you know. But you can also drop this into your Facebook page with your friends and family and just ask it even right now and tell us what happens. I had someone do that on a workshop and they were like, it went viral.
Yeah, this is definitely the best way to get some understanding, because one of my favorite things to do for you guys is take the guesswork out of what you need to do. And the best way to do that is to have these conversations, to send these questions out. If you already have an email list, this question is actually very useful still, because it allows you to find the sub-segments of your audience that may have big frustrations that you can start to tackle later. So this is for beginners, people who have an email list already. So I think it's just really important to do that. Now, if you do not have access, there's a few people here who are like, I don't have fans, I don't know how to reach out to people. Well, find at least groups of people who match up with who you want to target. And there are many ways to do that. Facebook groups, for example, LinkedIn groups. There are conversations happening right now where people are sharing those frustrations out loud. And that at least gives you a starting point to see, well, what could I create that could help people want to join me in helping them? Another great tool is a website called answerthepublic.com. Have you ever heard of that one?
No.
So it's a website. If you go to answerthepublic.com, don't be scared. There's like an old guy there who like looks at you and it's moving. It's really scary. But you type in keywords,
Okay.
and it will literally crawl through Google and other platforms to share with you all the most popular questions people are asking, all the questions people are asking related to that thing. Like hundreds of questions, and you'll see just a list of all of them. And that'll give you a good head start. Okay, here are things that I can do and create to get people onto my email list. Again, this gives you just a great head start. So the website again is answerthepublic.com.
Vanessa or Ben will drop it in the chat because that's how they do. And that's gold, you all.
If there's one thing you're going to do, like some people are like, I've gone on webinars before, I've never taken any action. Like just do that. That'll open up some light bulbs for you.
Yes. You can forget everything else but the weird old man on answerthepublic.com.
I like how you pointed at me when you said the weird old man.
Because that's what you said.
Okay.
You're not a weird old man.
I just turned 35, so I feel old.
So as you get these frustrations back or you see them on this website, you can start to make a list of what people say. You can just pull it over. I recommend putting it in one document somewhere and make a list of all of those frustrations. And what that's going to turn into are potential opt-in ideas, potential things you can create to give people that maybe answers that question or solves that problem. It doesn't mean you need to write a whole ebook as your opt-in, though some of you that might be your thing and you totally could. But it can be a very simple thing that is a quick win that solves a problem, because that is what the best opt-ins do. They solve a frustration or they address your audience's number one frequently asked question. I've heard so many people make really successful opt-ins that grew their email list like crazy just because they were listening to what people kept asking them, and they thought, well, I'll just make this an opt-in and then say, here you go, just enter your email and you'll get this answer. And I've heard that story over and over again. So listening is why we spend so much time talking about this, right?
Yeah. Somebody here is like, I'm having trouble making my opt-in for my craft beer podcast. Now you might find people who are in that space and go, what's your biggest frustration? And that might give you some clues. You can even use Answer the Public and put craft beer and put what ingredients, or you might find questions like, well, what ingredients do I need? How much does it cost? You can literally just answer their most important question in an opt-in, like a PDF file, and just add some text, provide a lot of value. They're going to want to open those further emails after that.
Yes. I don't know if you've seen our t-shirts, but Pat has the most relevant one right now. Teach everything you know. And that's what you're said everything really like.
Sorry, creepily.
Yeah, but I really liked it. I hope you heard that. So that's what you're thinking about as you see these frustrations. What do you know that you could teach that would help people? And I promise you, you know so much more than you think. And when it comes to what we know, we think it's obvious because it's our thing, but it's not obvious to most people. And so you really have a lot more to teach than you realize. Mm-hmm. These are some opt-in ideas. Some people really like this to screenshot this slide. There's another one coming up next. So if you want to screenshot it, now is the time. These are just some ideas of types of things you can put that teaching into. This does not need to be complicated. So if any of these things freak you out, ignore them. But this is some ideas just to give you some inspiration based on what you want to create and what really resonates with you and what you think would really resonate with your audience. Again, it can be something as simple as that you put together in a Word document and save as a PDF. So if this freaks you out, it can be really simple. But if you're getting excited about different ways you can do it, here are some ideas.
The checklist is a good one too. Just
Yeah.
step by step. What does a person need to do? They're going to want that, right?
Yes. Opt-ins that really encourage people to take action are really great. Those are the people you want on your email list. Those are the people ready to do something. People who act and want to act are the people who are going to open emails, who are going to be really engaged. And that's what you want.
The shopping list one is good too, as Kathy mentioned here. A list of resources and tools. People love tools because they say, oh, I'm going to get that tool. I'm going to be immediately better than I was. So perhaps it's a PDF file with your top 3 tools related to craft beer or whatever.
Yeah, I love that. And then this is my second slide, just some other ideas that you can do. If you have a service-based business, for example, maybe you have a case study of how you helped someone go from one thing to one thing, and you can share that as a way just for people to learn. And that's what you want to think about, your opt-in being really valuable. If you almost feel like, I could almost sell this, that's a really good opt-in, especially when you're starting out. And it doesn't mean it needs to be complicated. You just want to make sure that it's something that's going to help someone, even if they never buy a thing from you.
And quick help is okay too. Actually, it's probably preferred versus like a 50-page ebook.
Yes.
Like nobody's going to want to download a 50-page ebook knowing they're going to have to read it. Yes, it could still be valuable, but maybe you pull out the best chapter and you share that. The checklist, once again, Patrick's asking, it's essentially just a list of steps with a little box that's blank next to it that they can check off as they go after they print out. Super easy.
Super easy. If you're still not sure, think about what interests you, what results have you gotten in your topic, and what is the change your audience wants. So think about, where is your ideal potential true fan? Where are they before they find you? What is that question they're asking? What is their pain point? And where do they want to be? And this doesn't need to be some crazy life transition. It could be, oh, they have a blank wall is where they are now, and where they want to be, they want to have a nice piece of artwork on their wall, and then they're going to find you. So this can be a whole host of things, and you just want to think about, what can you teach that can get them there? Think about where all of those things intersect, and then create gated content, which is just means content that you put behind a form. So they have to give you their email address in order to get that content, to get them there faster and with less frustration. So this is what I call my alligator metaphor, because I'm from Florida, and you think about where your people are now and where they want to be. And I think of this lake of frustrations, and these are my Florida alligators that I drew myself. And what your opt-in should be is something that gets them where they want to be a little bit faster, with a little bit less alligator trouble. So think about even some of the alligators in your life, in your topic, that you have learned how to avoid or learned how to get through faster. That's what you're going to help people do. And that's what gives you hero status, and what actually makes those people true fans for life, because you have actually affected and changed their lives. And I haven't told you this, Pat, but I have done webinars with people who have mentioned your name and talked about how they're doing what they're doing or have their business because of your opt-ins and because of how they found you.
That's
so
awesome.
It's a fun little graphic alligator, and we're talking numbers and things, but it is really real. That's why I do this, why it excites me.
And by the way, congratulations to Sarah, who posted what are your biggest frustrations on her Facebook page and has already gotten responses literally in the last 5 minutes. So
Sarah!
Nice job, Sarah.
Sarah gets a...
This is weird. Okay.
It's weird. It's weird. We've decided it's weird.
But we'll probably still do it anyway.
We'll probably still do it anyway. And Pat, can you tell us like one of your best opt-ins?
Oh gosh. So my very first opt-in was a great one, because when I told my story about how I got laid off and then transitioned into helping people pass an architectural exam, I wrote an ebook to be able to do that. I sold that ebook. Well, a lot of people were like, how did you write this ebook? So that was my first opt-in, just literally step by step, literally kind of like a checklist, a little bit more details though. And it was called eBooks the Smart Way. And you can actually find it on ebooksthesmartway.com. It's been downloaded over 125,000 times. Wow. And I've had people email me say, Pat, I feel like I owe you money now because this thing helped me out so much. Antonio from Real Men, Real Style, who you may know, he has a Facebook channel of 1.7 million people and hundreds of thousands on his email list. He emailed me and said, Pat, your eBooks the Smart Way book helped me get my first 100,000 subscribers.
Oh my gosh.
So your ebook can do a very good job. And of course, once you do a good job for them for free, they're going to want to continue to work with you and potentially pay you for even more. Because if the free stuff is that good, well, the paid stuff must be even better. So that was a good one. Now, I will say that, you know, that was written in 2010. Now it's 8 years later. It might be a little bit too long now for what I would recommend you do. If I could redo it, I'd probably make it a 2-page checklist on how to write an ebook versus what I think is like a 15-page thing.
Right.
But it's still my most successful one.
And people were just asking you, like, how do I do an ebook?
Yeah.
And
that's it.
you listened.
ebooksthesmartway.com. So that's another thing with your lead magnets. You can create you can go to GoDaddy or whatever and get a domain if it's a popular one and just send people directly to it. It's not its own website. It just links to a place you can opt in for it on my existing website, smartpassiveincome.com. But that's ebooksthesmartway.com if you want to check it out.
Love it. Number 3, implementing content upgrade. So a content upgrade is almost exactly like an opt-in. The only difference is a content upgrade is very specific to a blog post. So it might be a blog post that is a recipe and then it's, hey, get the shopping list, click here. So it's a content upgrade that's very specific to one post. And I have heard time and time again, people tell me that this is a thing that grows their list over time where they're like, I don't even do anything. People are just finding my blogs and they're getting these content upgrades and my list is growing every day without me having to do a thing.
Yes. The content upgrade is something that Amy Porterfield uses quite often. At the end of her podcast, she'll teach something like my new strategy for Facebook ads, right? And at the end, she'll go, by the way, I have a checklist for you. So you don't have to remember all this. You just download it and you can work through it yourself. Go to this website here to go and get it. And because it relates specifically to what a person just heard and learned about, they're going to be more likely to download it. They're going to be more likely to use it and get value. They're going to be more likely to become a fan. And that's how Amy's been cranking on her email list lately.
I'm so glad I have a podcast and YouTube guy here because content upgrades are not just for blogs. It is something you can do on any YouTube video and any podcast.
For sure. And when you are a guest on another person's podcast or a guest on another person's YouTube channel, that's the other thing about that. We will talk about strategies for growing your list, which do include things like, starting a podcast and such. But that could also mean getting on another person's show. And you can mention that lead magnet there too. I've done that many times.
Yes, which is why it can be nice to have it on a simple URL at some point because you can easily direct people there. This is just a quote from one of our customers who found content upgrades was something that really changed her business from 300 new subscribers a month to 3,000 a month. She just told me this in person and I said, I have to use this on workshops. Now, this wasn't something she just did overnight, right? She had built content upgrades and she had been building her business, but actually implementing more content upgrades really made a difference for her. And I keep hearing this story, which is why I love to share this one. And you can think of content upgrades as kind of a gate. You heard me talk about that gate. I think of it as a castle gate. I don't know why. And their email address is the key. And the blog post is sort of that path to our castle, where lives all of your amazing, wonderful, helpful content. And watch out for the gators, exactly. And don't be afraid to save some of your best stuff for your content upgrades. You're still giving it away for free. You're not like gating it in an exclusive way. You're just making sure that you have an opportunity to attract and keep in touch with people who are really interested. If it's just living on your blog, they might love it and see it, but then if there's not any kind of content upgrade or opt-in, they might never remember to go see you again. And not because you're not awesome. Like when I go to a blog, I look, where can I sign up for email if I love it? Because I know I'll forget to go back. I need that in my email as that reminder.
Love it.
So one thing you can do as well, if you're already blogging in any way, you can also look up your most popular blog post, the one that most people are going to, do the 10-person rule on that topic and make a content upgrade. The stuff that you have online already isn't set in stone. You can change it, right? Add a content upgrade to that. So I love to give that. And then you might be wondering, okay, where do you promote this stuff? How do we then get people to this wonderful stuff that we've created so our email list starts growing? And that's what we're going to go through next. Number 4, it's about listening again, asking where your true fans actually go now for help. There's so many places and so many things you can be promoting on. And one thing I have seen over and over again is that people doing this really well, they focus on doing one thing really well and ignore everything else. And so sometimes we see people who seem like they're doing amazing on every platform. And if you really get to know them, you find out, yeah, they spent this year on this, doing this platform really well. And then they spent this year on this platform really well. So it's really about focus. You don't have to be all the things, but how do you know which is the right one? This is a way that can help you. And so when those people answer, what is your biggest frustration? You can reply back and say, where do you go online right now to get help when you're frustrated with that thing?
That's a great question. They're telling you where they go, and where there is one, there is likely many.
Yes, and they tell you, I've done this, I do this all the time, and I always, every time I do it, even though I teach it, I'm always like, people really respond to me, and then they do, and then I just freak out because I've got all of this information, and I feel like I know what to do. So as they tell you where they go, they might give you certain social media platforms. They might tell you certain blogs or certain podcasts. this is a clue of where you can start to promote your opt-in, start to promote what you do. These are maybe places you want to be a guest on, right? And we'll talk a little bit about that too. They also might tell you people. I've had that happen to me a lot where they'll say, oh, I go to this person on Twitter, on their blog, wherever, right? I go to Pat, right? There might be people like that. What that's going to be a clue to you is that is not competition. Those are potential partners. Those are people who you can start to learn from, start to get involved with their communities, and maybe even you feature them or you write about a way you've inspired by them and then share it on Twitter and at them or something.
Yeah, that's one of the big things about this exercise. I teach a similar exercise in my book, Will It Fly? Finding the places, right? Finding the people who have already earned that trust with that audience. And then also one more step, finding the products too, to see what else they're already buying is a good thing as well. But with the partners specifically, I like that you choose that word because a lot of times we go and see who else is out there and we think of them immediately as competitors. Just like Stephen here is asking in the Q&A section here. He goes, what happens if where they go is a competitor and they're much bigger than us, right? What happens then? We're too late. It's impossible for us to grow in this space. I actually think you have a huge advantage coming in later because there's a couple things you can do. One, you kind of get a lay of the land. Once you get all these places, you can see what people are being offered already and where people are going and where the holes are. And from there, you can determine, okay, what position can I take that's different, that's one level up or beyond what they already have access to? How can I create something different? And that's what helps you become a partner with these people who are bigger, who will want to promote you because here's the secret, guys. Figure out what your specialty is. Because if you have a specialty, you can get on a competitor's podcast. You can get on a competitor's blog because you have a specialty that they do not have. And because they are hopefully wanting to give more value to their audience, they're going to want to have you come on to talk about that specialty so that, maybe there's, for example, a real estate podcast, right? And you have a specialty in large scale commercial real estate. Well, this person who has this podcast may not have that expertise. So you can come on, even though those are people who are, in different levels of real estate. You can have this specialty and that's what you become known for. That way you can actually get in front of a competitor and have them want you there versus having them feel like you're this new guy who's competing. No, you're not competing. You have something different and kind of more specialized.
Pat, can you come on all my webinars forever?
Let's do it. We got another one tomorrow.
You're not busy, right? That's so great. That is gold. And it actually reminded me that when I wrote my first book, I did this same thing and reached out to someone. I wrote a book for college students. I reached out to the person who had the best-selling book for college students, and he ended up endorsing my book. Shout out to Cal Newport. Thank you so much. Yeah, he endorsed my book. It's the front thing on my book. I didn't know him. I had no connections. I just reached out as someone who appreciated his work, and I did appreciate his work. You want to look at these people's work, and if you don't like it, then I say don't work with that person. Ignore that. They're going to read your genuine interest as well and your genuine specialty, which I love that. When you're really specializing in something and trying to help people, those people, they got big typically because they want to do the same thing and they'll recognize that in you. And I think Pat just nailed that one. It's traffic time.
Traffic
time. So we're not going to tell you about the traffic in San Diego. We're going to talk about the traffic you can get to your website, to your opt-ins.
It's not as bad as in LA though.
No, it's not. It's awesome in San Diego. I love it. So we're going to go through a couple of really great traffic ideas that we know work. And I want you to know right now to not pick more than 3. I say pick your top 3 for the overachievers. But if you just pick one, that's really going to set you apart from a lot of people. So it is not about doing all the things, but we want you to know all the things so you can figure out the best ones for you. So the first one is making your opt-in a part of your signature and a part of your profile. So we're going to show you how you can set up an opt-in form and how you can put it on a page in your website, or maybe you can make your own URL like Pat was saying, which I love that idea. That link can start to be a part of who you are online everywhere. So, Twitter gives you a link in your Twitter profile bio, right? You can say, I have a free course, and then link it here, or a free, whatever your opt-in is, free checklist. Same with Instagram, and also even your email at the bottom of your signature. I've seen a lot of people do this, where you can say what your free thing is. And you might be thinking, well, my coworkers or my friends, they're not really potential true fans. What I'm doing is really niche. You want them to start to know what you do and what you provide, because they'll associate you with that thing. And then you never know who in their circle will be talking about it, posting about it, and they'll be like, oh, I have this friend. I've heard so many online creators tell me how word of mouth has actually played a huge role. Has that been?
Yeah, especially in the beginning stages when you have your Facebook friends see that you have this new interest in something. They might know somebody who is interested in that. They might not be interested, but they might know somebody. And it actually happens more often than you might think. What I love about this strategy, number 5, make it a part of your signature or profiles for social media is these are what I call passive promotional strategies, right? You have passive strategies and they're very active ones where you're going out there. But this is stuff that you just literally need to set up once. So why not do it, right? And again, just focus on one that you want to promote, your Instagram bio, your Twitter bio, Facebook profile. The PS on your emails are great too, especially if you already have a business and you're answering a lot of emails anyway. No matter what that email is about, it's in the PS. So it just becomes a nice little, hey, by the way, if you're interested in this, why don't you check it out?
That's why we spend so much time making sure your opt-in really solves a problem, because this is a free thing. You're not spamming your social media people with a thing you're trying to sell. It's just a resource, a free thing that people probably want because you've listened and you've heard they already want this thing or have this question. Number 6, hosting or co-hosting or being a guest on a webinar like you're doing right now, right here. And there's a lot of free services. So this doesn't mean you have to go all in and start figuring out the whole webinar world. This could even be as simple as a Facebook Live teaching, and you have people register ahead of time to get access to that group. And you can, when we show you how to make a form for your opt-in, you could do this, use the same thing and make a webinar or live workshop registration form for your people. But this is something I see people growing their lists massively. And I think it's so cool. I do this for a living, and it never ceases to amaze me that people show up and people still want to learn. I'm always, every time I'm
awesome.
like,
we have 502 people watching.
Yeah. That's insane.
Around the world right now.
That's
a couple people
insane
literally in San Diego traffic I saw as we were talking right now.
Sammy, I saw that.
But yeah, I love the webinar thing. Again, got to mention my friend Amy Porterfield. When she first started out online, her jam was webinars, free webinars, not even selling anything on these webinars. And she was just doing them to announcing them and collecting emails through registration just through her Facebook page. And her Facebook profile. And that's how she grew her list. Now there's even more advanced stuff, which I'm starting to dabble in a little bit, which is like Facebook Messenger. So maybe you go live on Facebook and you tell everybody, hey guys, if you want the free download, just type in freebie in the comments, and then your Facebook Messenger already pops up with that opt-in. There's a lot of cool advanced strategies.
That's cool.
But
I didn't know that one.
Number 1, keep it simple, right? So again, pick just 1 to 3 of these things that we're talking about. We're just giving you all the options.
Yeah, people love live workshops, which I think brings me great hope. Also, podcasting, YouTubing are great. Is that a word, YouTubing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
I just said that for the first time. YouTubing, it's a word. Pat said so. This is a great way to grow your list. Like Pat was talking about, these content upgrades, right? You're doing podcasts, you're doing YouTubes, you're giving free content, and then you're also going to have that content upgrade to help grow your list. You can also be a guest on these things. And Pat, I'm going to let you take it away for the rest of 7, because you're doing amazing things with this.
Yeah, I mean, podcasting and YouTube is great because it's just a step above, text in terms of building a relationship, getting people to know why you're doing what you're doing and the value that you have to provide, hearing a person's voice, the intonation, the emotion, that all plays a role in, are people going to subscribe to your list, right? And that's basically, are people going to trust you with their email address? Even before starting a podcast or YouTube channel, which does take a lot of work, I would recommend trying to be a guest on another person's show or video channel. And again, if you know what your specialty is, it's going to be a lot easier for you to pitch that. A lot of people worry about, I don't want to be cheesy or feel a little pushy when, going and asking somebody if I could be on their podcast. I understand that, but don't frame it for you, because when you have that kind of mindset of being scared about asking somebody, you are you-centric and you're worried about that. If you are their audience-centric, then you know that you have this thing that can help out, and it's going to be a very easy pitch because you're coming from a place of serving. You're coming from a place of helping and teaching everything you know. So when you approach it that way, it's a lot easier to ask. And honestly, like, what's the worst that can happen? When you ask somebody, a lot of people, we feel like the world's going to end. But really, what's the worst that can happen? They're just going to say no. No for now. No, not yet. So that's how I would approach it. But with podcasting and YouTube, with the lead magnet, mentioning it every once in a while, having a clean URL. If you don't want to buy a URL specifically to go to the lead magnet page on your website, you can have a pretty link on your WordPress to make it very easy and simple to go to. And finally, just, talk about it. Talk about it in a very natural way. You don't even have to sell it, but tell people what they're going to get. And one more tip is, if you have somebody in your audience who has benefited from your lead magnet, invite them on your show. and interview them, or at least ask them questions about how it helped them. When other people hear it from them, besides hearing it from you, it's gonna be much more impactful.
So great. If this is one that is exciting you, you're thinking, yes, YouTube podcast, this should be your one. This is a big one. Number 8 is blogging. Blogging consistently and implementing SEO, which just means keywords, having lots of keywords related to your topic, related to the things your true fans are searching for. So that is another great way by implementing content upgrades. And then,
Oh, I was going to address a question really quick.
Please
that
do.
because I know we have a lot of international people watching. Bang here asks, so I'm still left with the feeling that much of this is only really relevant for Americans and other really big markets. Many of us live in smaller countries, language areas. Well, that also gives you a great opportunity to be one of the top people in your space, for one. Number two, these strategies work no matter what country you're in. I think where it differs is in what you say and how you say it and how you approach it. I know in other countries, they're not as keen on a lot of the more aggressive marketing tactics. So being a little bit aware of that would make the most sense. But of course, if you always come from a place of helping others, I think in most cultures, that's something that people would just really enjoy. So just always approach it from that serving approach, and you won't really have anything to worry about.
And that's why we talk so much about listening. You're going to be asking your people, and it's their answers that you'll want to really listen to, and let that be your guide more than anything else. Oh, and then Pat, in terms of traffic, what has really worked really well
Oh gosh.
for you?
So what really has been helpful is, SEO is great, right? But it takes a while, especially if you're just starting out. The SEO is kind of a byproduct. The rankings in search engines are a byproduct of the consistency that you have and the value that you're offering through your written posts. Or, SEO is also on YouTube. SEO is also on podcasts. iTunes is a search engine. YouTube is a search engine. Doesn't matter what platform. Always provide great content. The search engines will follow, but that doesn't happen right away. To get the most immediate value is to somehow collaborate or work with other people. Now, let me give you a ninja tip right now, something that I offer in one of my courses, Power Up Podcasting. So this is what I tell my students. If you're trying to grow your podcast, you don't have an audience yet, here's the number one way to grow your audience. And you can use this for your blog or your YouTube channel as well. Do an interview with a founder or a group owner on Facebook. So find a Facebook group, find the admins, which they literally tell you who the admins are. You don't even need to join the group to find the admins. You reach out to them and go, hey, Carolyn, I have a knitting podcast, and I'm featuring some of my favorite knitting communities. And I see you have a great community here on Facebook. Would you mind, getting on a phone with me to answer just like 2 or 3 questions for a couple minutes? And I'd love to feature you in your community. Now, they're going to be more likely to say yes, as opposed to you reaching out to like A-listers in your community. The other thing is they're going to be more likely to share it. An A-lister will likely not share your stuff, especially if you're just starting out. But a person who is a community owner, who you feature and help to shape to look like a hero, they're going to want to push that out as much as possible because they're looking good. You make them look good. And now they're going to look good in front of their community, which means you're going to get exposure in their community through the trust that they've already earned with them, not you coming into a Facebook group and going, hey guys, check out my podcast, come to my website, right? When you feature that community owner, they will help feature you.
Right? Done. We can't drop our mic because it's up there. That is the best tip ever. I hope you all do that.
Some of my students have used just that to grow to thousands of listeners per
I'm
month.
not surprised. Do that. I'm going to do that. Number 9, I encourage you to keep what you're doing going. This idea of wanting to be a student, of showing up live, of learning. When it comes to social media, it can be a great way to build your list. And what I've found is that sometimes we tend to think, well, yeah, okay, I should use social media. I know this platform because I'm on it, because I'm doing things like sharing pictures of my dog, Stanley. And what you'll start to find if you look on courses or look at blogs who are talking about using these platforms for your business or for list building, the tools are like a whole other thing. Like Pat was just telling us about this Facebook thing that will pop up, right? Like that's a whole other thing that people using it just for fun don't know about. So definitely take some time to learn and focus on the one platform that you think or that you learn your people are on the most. Start there and feel free to invest in a course if you find something that's really great, but you can also just Google, look at the top most recent blog posts on that thing. What I love is that most people who are really good at using social media for list building and business, a lot of them make their living teaching people how to do this. So this is the type of content you can really find. And I think it's a great idea to go deep and learn those strategies because they're not that intuitive. You've got to learn them. You've got to find out.
By the way, Melissa, who's one of my students, I want to make sure I give a shout out to her. She's got a new podcast out. She's doing great. She asked, okay, well, how do you vet those people who are admins of those groups? Because she interviewed somebody and it didn't go so well. Have a conversation with them first. And in terms of email, this idea just popped up when you were talking. What if you reached out to these admin owners where you wouldn't have to worry about how they sound on video? You actually collect one answer to a very important question. For example, in the food truck industry, that question might be, what's one thing you wish you knew before you started a food truck? Right? And you compile that all into an ebook, and then that could be your lead magnet. And why would people do this? Well, for one, a lot of people in industries want to help other people who are getting started in that industry as well. Number two, if you frame that question in a way where you can also provide those answers back to those people, that'll be value to them too. So it'd be kind of cool to get those answers for those people, but in exchange, use that as a lead magnet. So there's a lot of ideas related to, again, collaboration with others too, even specifically for your opt-in, like we talked about earlier. So sorry,
featuring people.
that wasn't related to number 9.
That was so related to all the things.
All the
I
things.
loved it. Number 10 is emailing 100 people one by one. So if you're someone who's still like freaked out about all of these different kinds of platforms and things and want something that is really simple and direct, I've got something for you. And I kind of love this one, even though it sounds a little crazy, but I like crazy.
I've taught this before too, and it works. Some people, we've done webinars before where we've trained people to literally go and email people and just say, hey, if you have an interest in this thing that I'm also going to be talking a lot about, give me your email address. And some people have done hundreds in just a couple of days, literally by manually emailing people individually.
And this is an example of what I'm talking about. You can do this any way you want, but it's essentially emailing people that you know and telling them what you're doing and sharing this free thing that you have. Not only will you have people join your email list, people who really care about you, but again, you're building that foundation of people who know what you're doing and will tell other people or will think of you when certain things come up, and they will connect to you. I've seen this happen all the time, and this is a great way to get started.
Laura says, I did this, and that is why I have 111 people from 200 emails sent. That's over 50% conversion rate.
That's pretty amazing.
Nice, Laura.
Go, Laura. So you may be wondering, especially if you're just starting out, what do you link to that email? How do you set up that form so that you can deliver your opt-in? And then what happens next once they join your email list? So I am actually going to show you how to do that and how you can set that up in ConvertKit. And Pat, while I'm doing that, any other questions or anything you want to share?
Yeah, as you're bringing that up really quick, Barney's asking, chicken or egg problem. Do you grow an email list first and then ask them what they want, or do you ask, but how do you grow a list without knowing what you are offering? Well, this is why it's really important to do the research first to see what it is that you might want to offer first before you start growing this list if you wanted incentive. However, I think the most important thing is to pick a subject and a topic of interest so that you can find people. And even if it's still quite general, at least it's narrowed down to a specific interest so people know kind of what kinds of things they might get. And then you can utilize that list to then determine, okay, well, what in that little group that I've created seems to be the most pressing issue or the top question. So that's a great question though, Barney, because I know the most important thing is to just get started. And so that's how you do it. But all right, we'll get into the demo really quick. And a lot of people are also asking a lot of questions about ConvertKit specifically. We're about to go into the software and you'll see exactly why I love it and support it so much and how it differs from all the other ones out there.
So I'm going to show you a very basic way that you can set some of this stuff up. And Pat, feel free to interrupt at any point with telling us what you do or any of your fun strategies. I'm going to show you all the basics. So this is ConvertKit. This is inside my demo account dashboard, and I am in the automations tab. So this is our visual automations editor. It's just a really simple way to visualize the things that you're planning for your audience. So I'm going to start by creating an automation, and I'm just going to make a form. And a form is what people will fill in their name and email address to get your opt-in. So I'm going to choose a form right here. And you saw landing page, so that's something you can make here too. I'm going to choose this middle one. And you can see I can just kind of edit it right side by side, which is really nice. It's definitely how my brain works. So this might be, we're going to go with free checklist day. So this might be your free checklist. And you can see I can just start typing and writing whatever I want. You can customize this a ton. You can take away things. I love changing the button. I think it's really great to tell them what they're going to get. So it can be get the free checklist, but if your checklist is going to help them maybe get more email subscribers, you might put get more email subscribers. And I like to remind people that this form is really people's first impression of you. So type like you talk and let them really get to know you, even with something like a form. And it can be really, really simple. I'm just going to insert an image to show you kind of how you could do that. So I made something on Canva for you. It's just a really basic kind of free thing. So you can insert your idea here. But this is something you can do. It's really great to have kind of a preview of what your opt-in is so people can kind of get a sense of what they're getting. If your brand is really you, a picture of you can be great. Sometimes like looking over at where they fill it out to kind of give them that great first impression. And you can also change the colors here. So you can change the accent color to whatever you want. If you have brand colors, you can insert those in here. And you can also change the button color if you just want to have fun. Like I like to have fun with it. Sometimes you can do that. But there are really simple formats too. So if this kind of stuff overwhelms you, you don't have to implement all of the things. But if you like to add images and things, you definitely can do that. This is not how it will look on your website. We're in building mode. Once you put it on your website, it conforms to your site. And I'll show you that in just a second. But I want to show you how you deliver your opt-in. So say you've got this checklist. How do you make sure anyone who fills out that form on your site actually gets it? So you're going to click on settings and then go to incentive email. So this is that thing you probably have gotten where they want to make sure you're a real person, that your email address was right, and that you really want to receive these emails. So instead of it just being that, this is also a way to deliver your free thing. So this is actually the email that everyone who fills out this form would get, and you can change everything. So you can make the subject, right, download your free checklist or something like that. And then this is the content of the email that they'll actually get. I recommend changing all of this to sound like you. And then this is a button that they will see. And you can change that to a download button. So download the free checklist, right? And then how you connect your checklist to your button is just right down here. So if you're leading them to a special website or maybe some videos, you can put the URL right here when they click on the button. That's where they'll go, or you can download something. So you can upload a simple PDF checklist right here and then hit save. And then everyone who hits that button will automatically get that checklist for as long as you keep it around. I made an opt-in like this 5 years ago. I don't even know where the original PDF is anymore, but people who fill out that form still get it. So this is those kinds of things. Once you set it up, you're kind of done, which is nice. And then how you get it on your website, you would go to embed, and then you just copy and paste this JavaScript where you want it to go on your site. There's also different ways you can set it up if you want it to be sort of a pop-up in some way or slide in. We have all of the options. And if you're loving Vanessa and Ben as much as I love them, you will love our live chat down here to the bottom right. So I always recommend this if you're at this point where you want to get your form on your website, because every website might be a little bit different. Just ask us for help. We know it all. We've seen it all. We will help you set this up. You don't have to know any of the technical jargon either. Just tell us what you're trying to do.
Yeah, this is why my audience, you guys, love ConvertKit. I mean, I know a lot of you are seeing it for the first time today, and how it might differ from something like Aweber. I actually came from Aweber and went to Infusionsoft because I wanted a lot of the capabilities that Infusionsoft had with, you know, the automations and the workflow, and you can do some higher level things like if a person clicks on this link, then they go into this bucket. But it was just too expensive and way too complicated. That's why people call it Confusionsoft. No offense, and I know a lot of people who make a lot of money because of Infusionsoft. But for my audience specifically, it just was not going to be anything that I could recommend to them. So I got involved with ConvertKit. Nathan and I had a chat. He showed me the platform like when it was coming out, and I was just blown away. And I've been so excited to be able to use it. And what's cool is you can use it right out of the box, really easy to use, and create sequences and forms really easily, just like Isa showed you. But then you can also grow with it. You can get advanced with it. You can have triggers, meaning if like here's how I use ConvertKit. A person subscribes to my general email list, like on my homepage or on my blog post, and they get put into an email sequence. That first email that they get goes, hey, this is Pat. I just want to make sure I send emails that make sense for you. So which one of these items below best suits you? Are you somebody who's just starting out in business? Are you somebody who's started but not really seeing any results? Or are you kind of more advanced? Click on that one because I want to send you emails just about those things. So you can begin to start to segment once you get a little bit advanced, and it makes it really easy to do too, which is why, I love ConvertKit, because it can grow with you. And what the best thing about ConvertKit, and is just they care, right? This is a company that was built for creatives, for people like us. And Nathan comes from a user design experience background. And that's why everything is very intuitive. And plus they just care. It's really awesome. I mean, you can kind of get a feel for it already on this webinar with why they hire people like Issa, and Ben and Vanessa in the background. And you've probably heard Nathan maybe on my podcast before talking about how he bootstrapped this whole thing and it came out of a need that he had and frustrations with other tools. Anyway, I'm not going to talk too much about it, but it's just, I love this thing. And I'm super thankful to be able to work with this company on a higher level through the advisorship that I have, meaning I have a little bit of say in how things go there too. So if you guys ever have a problem with something, you let me know and I will pass it over. So
He'll text me, be like, hey, take care of Will. And I will. Okay, so as Pat was talking, I was, hopefully some of you saw, I was making a sequence. So that's what he was talking
nice.
about. Yes. So just giving you some ideas of kind of a welcome sequence that you could do. And you can see I have these going out every day. You can totally adjust that frequency. I think when someone, actually, just Pat, tell us, what do you do with frequency when someone joins your list?
So it depends on what they're joining for. So if, for example, they are joining a list to get access to, an upcoming training, I'm definitely going to send them stuff related to that more often because I want them to show up to that training or get that training, for example. If there's an email course and I say I'm going to have an email training every single day that gets sent out, which is also a great lead magnet, literally just creating a course within your email list, then they're going to get an email every day. My general list is once a week, but I use that automated once a week. And then I send broadcasts whenever really time-sensitive things come out. And I do some really cool things with my email list too. I don't just, actually, I usually don't sell at all, but I use it to survey. One of my emails that goes out says, hey, what are you struggling with? So imagine people automatically subscribing to your list. And maybe the third email after the third week is an email that, again, automatically gets sent out. You can do this with any email service provider. And it goes, hey, what are you struggling with right now? What do you want me to write blog posts about or create videos about? You're going to get a constant every single day because people are subscribing every day. You're going to get constant emails, replies back from people saying, I wish you would do this, or I need help with this, or I need help with this. Now you're never going to ever run out of content. And it's been one of the best strategies email-wise to implement in terms of just, well, what should I write about? Again, taking the guesswork out. That's the whole thing.
I love that. And as Pat was talking about, if you wanted to do an opt-in, like a free email course, how I've shown you the sequence right here, this could be less than 1, less than 2, less than 3. So you can make an email course as well with something like this. I've found that to be a very great opt-in as well, if you're looking for something like that. Anything else with sequences or forms before we share with them some of that free stuff that we promised?
No, I think we're good. But I do see Jay here says, great info, answers so many questions. You guys are awesome.
Oh, boom.
Nice.
Thank you, Jay. We really appreciate that. So as a thank you for being here and for being a part of all of this amazing, amazing craziness. This is so much fun. We want to give you, and Pat wants to give you something pretty special.
And there'll be time for questions. We're going to answer a boatload of questions in just a minute. But we got something special for you.
We want to share the free stuff for those of you who do need to go within an hour. We don't want you to miss out on that stuff. And then we're gonna get to all
Sean
those
says, Pat, that's embarrassing. I know, and I'm comfortable with that. That's okay.
So if you want to try out some of this stuff, Pat has made available for you with us 45 days free.
You can't get this anywhere. No. This is the only spot that it's available for a 45-day trial.
Yes. This is very special, and we want to give you a chance to try some of this stuff out. So if you go to convertkit.com/pat1, and Vanessa and Ben will be dropping this link in the chat very often, so you can just click on it if that's easier for you. But if you go here, you can get 45 days free. And as a thank you for doing that, for being here live with us, we want to also give you some free stuff in addition to the free stuff as a thank you. So these bonuses I'm going to share with you, you will get in an email automatically sent to you after you set up your free month. So these bonuses you get to keep even if you end up canceling. And tell us if you sign up too. Tell Vanessa and Ben, because they're going to be telling us. We'll be doing some shout outs and maybe some more embarrassing weird things with those.
We do have a couple of people saying, I already have ConvertKit. What about the bonuses? You're going to take care of them, right?
Oh yeah,
okay.
I have an answer for you. So the 45 days is just for people who are, it's their first 45 days. But for those of you who are already a ConvertKit customer, we just think it's awesome that you're here, and we will give you all of these bonuses that I'm going to share with you. So you will get an email after this workshop. If you don't see the bonuses by tomorrow morning, email help@convertkit.com. This goes for anybody. If you don't see them tomorrow morning, you tell them, you were at the PAT webinar, and they know what that means, and they'll give you all the stuff. So the first thing is this authority book bundle by Nathan Barry, the woodworker and the CEO of this company. And this is a really great book about becoming an expert. It actually opens with an anecdote about Pat. So it's pretty great. This comes in the digital book, and you get the audio version if you just want to listen to it while you're doing other things, while you're emailing your 100 people. This will be automatically emailed to you, along with a swipe file made by yours truly.
What is a swipe file, Lisa?
That is such a good question, Pat. I just want a webinar co-host like in person all the time. Nathan, are you listening? So this is so fun. So a swipe file is copy that you can just copy and paste and then insert your own details to make it a lot easier for you to write something. So this is swipe file I have made for you, and it will help you do the 10-person rule we talked about, and if you want to email 100 people one by one. So if you're just like, sometimes the hardest thing is staring at the blank page, the swipe file makes that so much easier. And I wrote this for you. I'm a writer as well, and I wrote this based on what I have actually written to real people that actually worked. I did write to that partner who ended up endorsing my book, so I am pretty good at this, and I wanted to share it with you. And you'll see it's really simple. It's really about being yourself, being really authentic, and I put places where you're going to put in your own details and your own thoughts.
And if you're already a ConvertKit user, we have a number of people who are ConvertKit users, which is great. Those of you who are not, I hope you join on board. But those of you who are already ConvertKit users, you should get an email tomorrow. We will cross-reference the people who attended with the people who are already customers, and you will hopefully get an email. If you don't get an email, you'll send a question to me or ConvertKit later on, but just wait for that email. It'll be automatically sent to you.
Yes, it'll happen. It usually happens by this evening, which is why I say if you wake up in the morning and you're like, where are my bonuses? That's when you should email us, but just hang tight. It's on the way. And then Pat has included a pretty amazing special bonus, and I just thought this was really cool. He's going to give you 2 free 1-hour group calls in Q1 of Q2 of this year, where he's going to answer your questions. As you know, he's an amazing source of knowledge. I want him to be at all my workshops. I don't think he has time for that, but he's going to do this for you, 2 more hours with Pat. And he told me he doesn't do this outside of, right, your existing students.
Yeah, my students have access to me in office hours, but I don't really do this. But I wanted to make sure that I hold you guys accountable for building your email list. And because I'm also a ConvertKit user, I can give you direct support for what it is that you're building. If you're like, Pat, how do I do this? I can literally go live in my account and show you how to do that. So I want to be there to help you. The first one will happen in a couple months, probably within the 45 days, actually. So whether you end up staying or not, you can get access to that one. The one after is going to be for people who stick around after the 45 days. So that'll be a lot of fun, and it's one of my favorite things to do, and email is amazingly helpful, and I want to be there to help you too. So you'll get essentially 2 free hours with me, and take advantage of that. You know, I sometimes offer this as a bonus. I do this with David Slightman Garland's course on courses too, and not that many people come on the live calls, and those people get like 2 hours with me to help them directly. So come on, please, be there. I will send you an email after I get from ConvertKit who signs up in the 45-day for the 45-day free trial. I'll send all of you an email in probably a week with details on when those are happening. And with me and my students, I often, to accommodate for the people on the other side of the world, I'll often add in an extra one. So this might actually be 3. One of them being very late at night for those of you there was a couple people in Denmark and the UK and Australia. So you'll see that too. I just want to take care of you guys. And I hope you know that I don't do this very often. Actually, this is the first time we've done this setup, but I don't do these webinars very often. I only do them with companies who I trust, because I know that what I recommend to you has an impact on how you feel about me, and that means impact for you. So, although many people want to have this set up with me, I am very selective with who I work with and who I promote. And I'm 100% confident that if you get involved with this, or at least implement these strategies, you're going to see success, and I want you to succeed. So thank you, guys. I appreciate that.
I saw someone said these are the best bonuses they've ever seen on a webinar, and I'm so surprised that they're saying that on this slide. This is a really, really great one, and I definitely hope you all take advantage of that.
And yes, the call, those of you who are ConvertKit users who are on, will be on those calls too, or hopefully you'll be on those calls too. Really quick, a bunch of people asking about the replay. Tom saying, don't see your response about the replay. There is a replay, right?
Yes, we will be emailing you a replay once it loads. So you should see that in about an hour or two. I'll probably drive home and it'll be loaded by the time I get home, and I will get it out to you. And that replay will be available for 48 hours. Usually only 24, but
yeah. We'll hook you up. Vanessa
up.
said 24, but we've pulled some strings.
Yes.
We've done these before, so we know you guys want a little bit more time, so we'll give you 4 to 8 hours.
Yes, that is just for you all. And then this is a bonus for those of you who are here live as a thank you. And this is a $200 product to profit masterclass. So this is something, one of my favorite modules on this is growing your audience, module 1. So if you like this content, module 1 is kind of the next step where you can continue to think about more ideas to grow your list. And then I really love module 5, I have to say, the pricing and positioning module, where it talks about how you can kind of price some of your things.
Yeah.
And that, honestly, it blew my mind. So I really mean that. So I like to share that. That could be a good one to skip to, I think, if you're really excited about that. But this is $200 course taught by people who've made $2 million in revenue, and they share exactly, honestly, how they did it and what strategies they used. And so this will be emailed to you when you set up your free month, and only if you set it up live on this webinar right now. So that you'll definitely want to do before we go. As long as you set it up before we go, you should definitely get that. So these are all the things that you will get for free. And I want to walk you through what will happen when you go to that link and you set up your free month. It's going to ask you to start your ConvertKit account so you can get your first 45 days free. You enter in your email and password, whatever you use to set up accounts. This does not need to be the email you're going to send emails from. You can set that up later. And then it will ask you to put your credit card on file so you can have full access to everything. But I always like to assure you,
you will not be billed.
You will not be billed. When you're putting your card, you're not going to be billed today. This is just going to help you set it up. And what I encourage you to do is set a trial reminder. So this is 45 days free. Go in your calendar for maybe day 43 and have that be your check-in, and look at what you've done, look at what you want to do, and kind of make your decisions there.
Who tells you that? Like, most companies, I would assume, would be like trying to hide that 45 days so you are automatically billed. But no, Issa's here telling you, put a reminder to check in with yourself. You have 45 days. Which is really cool. So thank you for that.
Yes. And honestly, even if day 47 happens and you see, oh my gosh, I got charged $29 for that thing I did 45 days ago, and I had my trial reminder and I missed it, my life got crazy, I got charged $29, email help@convertkit.com. Tell them you were with Pat and Issa, and they will refund you. We don't want anyone accidentally getting charged. We love ConvertKit. We know the people who stay on want to be here, and we want you to be here in a way that's going to help you grow your business, grow your audience. That's what we want for you. We don't want you accidentally getting charged. So definitely take advantage of that. And also, when you're in your calendar setting your reminders, set aside time to set up your account and start this process. What's really great is that once you do all of this, you're done and it starts to work for you. So I think of setup time as like hiring an assistant, right? You've got to interview them. You've got to train them a little bit. That's time you'll spend that once, but then once you're done, that person works for you and they make you money and they take things off your plate and give you more time. And so that's how I like to think of setup time anytime I add something new to my business.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
That's great. A lot of people are very excited. Question about the bonuses. Is the masterclass available for existing subscribers as well?
Yes. Yes.
Sweet. If you're live on the call.
If you're live. Yes. If you are live, all of the things I just showed you, you will get if you are a current ConvertKit customer. And then if you're signing up for the first time, you will get 45 days free and all of the things. Again, they'll be emailed to you in a separate email. And let us know if you're a current customer, if you're setting up your free month. Tell Vanessa and Ben. We would love to celebrate you as well. Feel free to tell us what you're growing your email list for. If you have a business, if you have a book, we can give you a shout out.
Love it.
And then last little bonus I want to share with you is while you're in ConvertKit, during your 45 days even, that we have a checklist for you to set up your account. And when you go through this checklist, you'll see a button that says claim your free gift, and we will mail you a t-shirt for free. Just like the ones that we are modeling today. And you can pick your saying, you can pick your color, and they're actually soft.
They
right?
are. I
Right?
wear them all the time. You all know I wear them all the time on videos and stuff.
Yes, Pat and I were actually at the same park. We didn't even know it, and he was wearing his ConvertKit shirt.
Yeah.
We found out through Instagram.
Now,
We were,
this isn't a bonus. This is like what you do for all people
yes,
who
this
are
is
on
something
ConvertKit.
that's part of ConvertKit.
I think
So
that's really
that's why I
smart,
call it
actually.
a bonus. Because if you're getting free 45 days, you can get a T-shirt. Even, I mean, we're not going to go take your T-shirt back if you have to leave us. So we
Cool.
hope you don't.
Awesome. A couple questions.
Yeah.
Gosh, I missed one really quick. So Andre says, does unsubscribe emails, are they considered for the total amount of emails on each plan? I don't believe so. And when I was on another email service provider, a couple things happened. If one person was on 2 lists, that counted as 2 people. ConvertKit does not do that. And unsubscribes, I believe as long as the email isn't on there, then it's not going to count.
No, it definitely should.
Why would it? I mean, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And then we have some questions. I see your question, George. You're kind of getting frustrated because we're not answering your question. There's a lot of questions coming in, and we're saving the sort of, okay, let's get into some email related questions. I'll answer yours first, George. So wait up. We have just a couple more things to share. Are we good?
Yes, one more quick thing, and then we're all about the question. So if any of you need to go, you're good to go unless you have a question that you really want answered. And so I just like to always share this because I know a lot of the questions that I tend to get is, how are you different from this platform and this platform? Because we're not the only email service provider out there. And so I always like to just share this slide. This comes not from me, from our customers. I asked our customers and did some research. Well, why did you switch to us? Or why did you start with us? And this was what people had to say. And one of those was that thing you were talking about with subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't count them separately, which a lot of ones do. So for example, if you have many content upgrades and you have one person signing up for 4 of your forms, you're not paying for them 4 times. You'll actually only see them in your account once. And when you click on their profile, it will show you everything they've signed up for. So it's also a great way to get to know your people, and we really consolidate them. But Pat, I'll let you take it away on this and then lead us into questions. Anything else you want to share about why you love ConvertKit, and then we can get into
this final bullet here, the trainings. The coolest thing that Nathan told me, and the reason why I wanted to come on as an advisor, because he was trying to sell me on it in the beginning, was because he said that, we want our subscribers and our customers to grow. We want them to do well because it becomes a win for everybody, right? Because if ConvertKit can help you grow your email list, you're obviously going to stay on ConvertKit, which is great for their business. But that's also great for you. So you have more people on your team now, essentially on your email team, by signing up and getting involved with this company who they're all there. I've met many of them. I mean, you guys are growing, but I've met many of them and they all care about you. Like, it's part of their mission statement to care for you. And it's just very apparent. It's really cool to see because email has been around for a while. And I just feel like finally somebody's doing it right. So
yeah, a lot of us are creators. We have our own blogs, and our customer success team, it's called a customer success team. So we're going to help you with the tech stuff, but we love to help you with strategies too, because we want you to grow your list. And I'm just so excited that you all have been here, and I want to answer these questions for you all are here live. So if you have to go, because I know it's been a little over an hour, I want to just remind you that you can go to convertkit.com/Pat1 and get all of the free things. So definitely set that up if you have to go so you can get on all of these bonuses. And I just want to thank you so much for being here. But if you have a question, we're going to answer some of these questions right now. So if you have to go, bye. And if you're going to stick around for some Q&A, let's go.
All right.
Yeah.
So, George, I said I was going to answer your question first. Actually, we're going to keep this screen up for a while, and so you guys can still see me on a little box. Plus, I'm just talking anyway. So George says, I have an e-course and an ebook, both on fitness. What is more effective as a lead page? Please help. So which one should you choose to focus on to get people in? Here's the answer. You do both of them. You can have one for people who are like, I don't want to take a course. I want an ebook, right? Then you have the other one that you offer every once in a while too. And you kind of just mix it up. I think that's a great advantage because you're not just saying the same thing every single time. And you can kind of over time see and begin to understand which one is actually more effective. So use both. Both are great for different reasons. And some people will want one versus the other. So you're at a little bit of advantage because you have more than one. So it's great.
And the forms that I showed you on ConvertKit, if you click on the subscriber tag for that form, it will show you the conversion rate, how many people went to the e-course, and then how many people actually opted in. And then if you also have your other form, you can compare those numbers and also kind of experiment over time, figure out what's working.
Great. Devin here asks, are contests or free gifts more effective? So free gift being like the opt-in we're talking about. The reason why I feel the opt-ins are really great is because it relates to what people want versus, hey guys, sign up and you get a chance to win, an iMac or a MacBook Pro, right? Like that's kind of cool. But think about the kind of subscribers you're going to get if you're promoting an iPad versus if you're promoting something that relates to what it is that you're going to teach about and potentially create a course about in the future. You're also going for quality subscribers. Now, that being said, contests are great for acceleration. Let's say, for example, you are celebrating the launch of a podcast or the launch of your business or the launch of a course, right? You can have a contest in that, and you don't have to necessarily give away just things related to it. I mean, you can make a big event out of it, just to kind of add some acceleration, but still having things that match what it is that you're teaching. That's the best thing, and that's why. It's because of the targeted quality type of subscribers versus the quantity.
Yep, I agree 100%. Nothing to add to that.
Okay. Oh, Shelly asks, this is more of a mindset question, not necessarily to email, but maybe it is. How do you deal with imposter syndrome when you are first starting out? So imposter syndrome is a very common thought that we all have about ourselves, that we may not be qualified to do what it is that we're doing. Who would listen to us? Who would pay us for this stuff? Who would actually come to my website? I'm a fraud. Those are things that people say to themselves when oftentimes they are just nervous, when they're going into new territory. So first of all, Shelly, it's a very common to think like that. I still think like that sometimes, but here's what gets me over it. Number one, being confident in what I know I can help people with. Number two, seeing the results. If you are a little bit further ahead already, and that's when you're experiencing this imposter syndrome, looking at the results that you've helped with others. Issa, you saw when you walked in that serve first sign in the lobby, right? And all the thank you notes from people, not even a percentage of them actually, from people who have thanked me for the work that I've helped them do, from people who have quit their jobs to now have more time to spend with their kids, to now have funds to pay for a family vacation or whatever. They send me thank you notes and I don't even ask for them, which is fantastic. And I love that. That is my barometer for success is, can I convince a person through my teaching to have them get up and write with a pen, because we don't do that anymore. So I look at that when I am feeling that way and I'm like, man, I have to keep going because there are even more of these people out there who need my help. And then number three, again, just realizing that this is just a very common thing to feel, and to really appreciate the small wins as you go along. We might feel like an imposter when we have this giant goal and we're just not very close to reaching it. But if you break down that goal into a lot of mini milestones, you're on a micro level going to succeed quite often. And that's going to help motivate you and keep you pushing forward.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Cool. SEO specific questions. Kristen, are there any SEO resources you recommend besides Yoast? Yes, my favorite one is Brian Dean from backlinko.com. He has a great YouTube channel now, very effective, very good and to the point videos to help you with some basic and advanced SEO strategies to help you rank on YouTube, rank on Google, etc. He also has some very, very widely spread content on his site. Again, backlinko, like backlink with a o.com. He is just so good at what he does. And he has these things called the skyscraper technique and this other thing. And it's just really great. It's really, really helpful. Let's see. We got a lot more questions coming in here, which is great. What kinds of opt-ins would work for a review curation site rather than teaching or a product site? So a review or curation site is one that does what? It helps people understand what the top items are or what to look out for. What I would recommend is, instead of having an opt-in with maybe a list of tools, maybe have an opt-in that's related to a list of needs and warnings and things to look out for related to that industry. So let's say, for example, that you're doing a review site on, let's say the top vehicles, right? And then maybe your opt-in is a list of the 5 top most requested features that other people want in a car and tips for you when you were shopping for a car to align those things. So I'm just brainstorming right here. Maybe your website is a review site on, for example, different hosting companies. So, hey guys, download this 5 checkpoint checklist to consider, okay, what are the most important features that you need for your business that you're creating? Is it the speed of your website? Is it the, are you like terrible at tech stuff? So you want a thing that's easy to use, and maybe based on the answers that they have within that opt-in, they are able to then determine, okay, well, then it would make sense to go with this one because it's not very technically difficult to do. So you can use that opt-in to even help people drive into an affiliate offer too, which is kind of cool.
Yes, and this is what you're going to get on those 2 calls as well. So if for some reason we don't get to your question, we have so many. I hope that you have set up your free 45 days so you can have these calls with Pat, because this is what it's going to be like. He's great at brainstorming this kind of stuff, which can be helpful. But I encourage you all too, as you have these questions, also, if especially if they're strategy related, keep talking about this. Talk about it with people you know. You'll be amazed at what ideas you could get when you just kind of talk and when you ask and you take that first step. What else, Pat? Any other questions we can answer before
Yeah,
we
I'm looking.
go?
There was a number, and I know Vanessa and Ben have been doing a great job of answering questions too. Okay, here's a good one from Scott Young. He says, Pat and Issa, what is the best way to build an email list if you are not the subject expert? For example, for a company that organizes events featuring the subject experts. Thanks. Well, perhaps you can do some roundup posts like I was talking about. Maybe it's a PDF file with the top 10 suggestions from 10 of the top industry leaders in your space for blank. The for blank is really important. You want a reason people need to download this. You don't just want a random PDF with 10 people's quotes on it, but 10 people's quotes about a specific thing that these people would want to know more about. So that's just one brainstormed idea. Perhaps it goes into, if it's about those other people, it might be, again, I don't know exactly what your topic is, but it could be, here are the top 10 industry leaders and each of their morning routines, because you happen to be talking about productivity during a specific month, for example. So let's grab the top 10 industry leaders and ask them about their morning routine, and let's just share that, because that's really interesting. And I want to know what that is. And you could talk even more about like why they do those things too. So again, I'm just brainstorming here, but that would be kind of cool.
Love that. And I know a lot of you were asking about the 45 days and how long and all of that. So the Product to Profit Masterclass, that bonus will definitely go away after this workshop. And the 45 days you will have access to tomorrow, but then it disappears. So this is a very one-time thing. So I definitely want to make sure that you all know that. Someone's asking about this weekend. It will disappear by then. So definitely set it up now if you can. And I know I sometimes have people who they're like, I really want to do this, but I don't think I could really start working on things until like 3 months from now. I always encourage people, get your 45 days, set things up, get your bonuses. Even if you have to cancel, once you're ready to reactivate, all you do is email help@convertkit.com, tell us to reactivate your account, and all the work that you did will still be there. So you can still take advantage of this 45
Love it.
days no matter what.
Chris says, what's a potential lead magnet for a fiction feature film? I actually had a very similar question asked of me for somebody who was in theater.
Ooh, I love
And they were like, we're doing a production. How can I build my email list for like a production? Well, the strategy was to share a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that was happening, get to know the actors a little bit, some of the production elements, and some of the things that people could look forward to in that production. So very, very similar. In your film, what are some things that you're doing right now that you could just capture and have as sort of a bonus? People love behind the scenes stuff. Think about like when you watch Toy Story, you go and watch, okay, how they made Toy Story. At least that's what we do. But, you want to know how, as William says, how the sausage gets made, which I never like that phrasing, but I think a lot of people know what that means.
Yes, I love that. And you may think, even as a person, you're like, well, no one would care about my behind the scenes. But I think that's actually a really good tip for some of the things you might write in your emails or things that you share. People really do love to know how things work in the topic they really care about. And that goes back to the beginning of why we focus on our true fans.
Cool. And if you're signing up and you're not getting the confirmation email, you can just email help@convertkit.com and we'll make sure you get taken care of, right?
Yeah, so the bonuses will get automatically emailed to you. It doesn't always happen like that. So I wouldn't worry until tomorrow morning. If tomorrow morning happens and you haven't gotten your bonuses, email help@convertkit.com. Tell them you were with Pat. They'll take care of you. Don't worry.
And Bang just says, this is nice. You are selling, but not overselling and giving.
Oh,
thank you. That's really, really important for me to hear, because that was a thing that I struggled with a long time ago, was selling. I thought selling equals selling out. But the thing I realized is you can sell and serve at the same time, because I know that when you guys get involved with this, you're going to see results and you're going to thank me for it. That's my goal, is to get a thank you note from you in some format, written pen or text, saying, man, I remember that webinar and it was great. I picked it up. Now I have this email list and now I have a business as a result of that. That's my vision.
I love those stories. I actually had someone I did a workshop with asking about how she got started, and she said it was when she first went on a live workshop with ConvertKit, and then she was a partner who was co-hosting with me many months later, or I think it was maybe a year later. So that's what we get excited about, is knowing that where you can go, and that's what we love.
So Try You, which is an awesome name, says, "Hey Pat and Issa, I'm a web designer. How do I grow my email list?" So if you are a web designer, there might be some cool things that you could teach. It depends on who your audience is, actually. If you're a web designer helping a specific niche, maybe there are some niche specific things that a person would be interested in learning about. I would recommend that if you are doing any type of development or design work, those kinds of freelancing works, try to see if you can hone in on a specific niche. And that way you have a lot more to share and you can speak those people's language and you'll develop that, like I said earlier, specialty. Maybe your specialty as a web designer is restaurants and food trucks, right? Then you can A, understand exactly who you need to reach out to, B, understand the needs of those specific types of people, and C, create the solutions for them. And those lead magnets can be mini solutions to problems that that specific thing has. So a lead magnet for, if I'm doing web design for a restaurant, could be, here are the top 10 things you need to have on your mobile menu. If you're a restaurant owner, you would want to know what that is. So again,
I love that. And no Google search is going to be as good as a Pat answer, but I always would love to share with you, because I know some of you are asking, like, email marketing for this, for that. And you can Google email marketing for web designers, painters, anything that you're doing, and you will be amazed at how much stuff has been written about this and blogged about. So if you're also feeling stuck, that can be a great way to get some inspiration. There's a lot of stuff out there that's very specific to different niches.
Cool. Some people are saying that the blue button isn't working, and that's probably our fault because it's actually not a button. Yeah. It's shaped like a button. So just go to convertkit.com/Pat1. That's actually really good feedback. So we'll change that for tomorrow. So, hey guys, thank you for that. I appreciate that.
It does look like the button that I showed in the ConvertKit dashboard, like the email you get. Yeah. So I've never had that happen before.
That's okay. Actually, but see, my eyes is very intuitive. They're like button click, right? So we need to be a little bit smarter about that.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay, we are at 1 hour and 28 minutes here since we started. So we'll do one or two more questions and then we'll finish off. You guys are amazing. Thank you for sticking around. I mean, we still have hundreds here, which is great. Carrie just signed up, which is awesome.
Yay, Carrie.
Let's see. Dave says, for opt-in, the value-added freebie is often the dangling carrot that is used in exchange for the user's email. I've been guilty to using an alternate junk email to get the freebie and subsequently unsubscribe. I presume others have experienced this. Have experienced the same thing. What do you do? How do you get the true fans? Okay, so here's what Dave is saying. This is really a smart thing. So you offer this free thing, and you have a person who wants that free thing, but doesn't really want more emails because they're a little bit intuitive, and they know that when they subscribe, they're going to get emails. They don't want those, so they use a junk email to get that freebie and then go away. Well, here's the trick. You make that freebie so good that a person's going to be like, I cannot believe I unsubscribed to that email. I'm going to go in there with my real email. And so what you do, and this also helps with like piracy and sharing, the very last bit of your lead magnet, if it's like a PDF, the last page, have it say, and by the way, thank you for checking this out. I appreciate it. If you aren't subscribed to my email yet already, because maybe a friend shared this with you, or maybe you got access to this without subscribing, you can go here to subscribe. Now, the idea being you provide a ton of value through that lead magnet and then still have a way to capture those people, even if they were to subscribe with a junk email or, unsubscribe from there.
Such a good idea.
So that's
the
trick.
That. All right. We got time for one more, I believe, right, Pat?
Yes.
All right. What's going to be our last question? Sorry we couldn't get to all of them.
No,
you all are
there's
amazing.
Too many people here, but
there's
great.
Just so many people, which we're so glad. And the good news is the way Pat's doing his bonus. So if your question wasn't answered live on this workshop, as long as you set up your free 45 days, you will have access to ask Pat your question. And if it's a question about ConvertKit, you can email help@convertkit.com. So we definitely won't leave any of you hanging. We just will have to go in about a minute here after we answer this
final question from Macy. Can you describe how the best way someone who also does affiliate marketing as well as offering free ebooks you produce work with ConvertKit? Many autoresponders do not like certain types of affiliate marketers. Thanks. That's interesting. I think, the most important thing, we talked about selling your own products. Well, that can also include selling other people's products as long as you know they align with the goals of your audience. That's my biggest tip. If you're doing affiliate marketing, make sure that you essentially treat those products as if they were your own and approach them in the same way. Only work with companies and other products that you know are going to take care of your audience, just like what we're doing right now. And in that way, you really have nothing to worry about. People are going to open those emails. They're going to get a lot of value. They're going to want to take even more recommendations. If you do affiliate marketing, it's great to have an email list because you can provide a lot of free value and then say, hey, by the way, in order to do that thing that I taught you, here's a couple tools that can help you do it even better or even faster. Here's a course that can help you learn even deeper that I've gotten involved with myself. you can just have it in your autoresponder sequence to literally just take people through that journey. So a lot of people who have products, a person subscribes, you give them value over time, they get sold to. Same thing with affiliate marketing. They subscribe, you give them value over time, they get pitched that affiliate product. Now, a little quick bonus, do a demo video of that product. Show people what they're going to get before they get it. There's a little bit less trust there because it's not your product. So open that up and show them what's inside. And that's how you do it.
And you can do affiliate marketing with ConvertKit. I know some platforms don't allow you to. I know it looks like you might have been mentioning that too, but you totally can. And I love the way Pat does it. And we will definitely allow you to do that too.
So, hey guys, we appreciate you so much. Isa from ConvertKit, thank you so much for being here in the SPI studios. Thank you all for watching in. And hey, we did it, our first one.
Woo!
Yay!
Yay!
We were holding those the whole time.
The whole time.
No, we were.
Thank you all so much. I'm so glad that you came. And I hope you have an amazing, amazing rest of your day.
Cheers, guys. Thanks. Bye.